Hi, everybody. Welcome to Eating Peace. When you have a binge or you overeat or you graze eat and just find yourself in one of those situations when you're not hungry at all and everyone's about to sit down for a meal, or some sort of deep disappointment that the way your body is, the level of fullness doesn't match what's going on the outside, or you actually just binge ate, like a really aggressive stuffing of food. But anything where you just notice a slight criticism to a large criticism about what you've just done with food, this is for this moment, this kind of moment. There's two things that I strongly suggest you do right away, and they are very, very simple but not easy. The first thing is self-compassion. If you feel angry and frustrated and disappointed and in despair about your eating behavior and your eating activity, the last thing you often want to do is have self-compassion. You feel almost like aggression towards the self. You feel like attacking yourself. You have thoughts like, what's wrong with me? Why did I do that again? I told myself, I vowed I wasn't going to eat that certain thing, and then I ate it. Or I promised I wouldn't stuff myself, at this certain event, and I did. These are repetitive thoughts, and you notice those kinds of self-attacking thoughts, those really going to war with who you are. If they worked, they would have worked a long time ago, because you probably have had them for a long time. I'm sure that I first had my original ones like when I was a teenager at some point. And they just continued in this terrible, difficult cycle. But when looking back at it, I realized that the only reason I had it is because I thought some sort of intense, violent energy is the thing that would work, like a forcing energy. It's like what the military is in a way, or some sort of large, huge, massive push against something. I'm going to force it not to happen. I'm going to have discipline. I'm going to have aggression, even attack. Now, these are all, there's places in the world for, making an extremely clear boundary and having a dynamic relationship with anger or intensity or strength. And attacking the self isn't one of them. It just really doesn't help. In fact, it's different than having a clear boundary with yourself. You've probably noticed, like something that just has a deep, deep commitment to not crossing the line, that feeling inside of being stuffed or overeating when you really don't need food, the feeling of that and just absolutely never crossing it is different than attacking yourself, wavering and crossing the line and then attacking yourself for having done so. So what we're doing is just dropping in this first idea with self-compassion, the belief that violence or self-hatred or attacking you is going to make you change, because it hasn't done it so far. And I never found it to work, ever. Maybe even temporarily it might work for a little while. If you're terrified and somebody is, holding you somewhere with force, saying, do not move, you might stand really frozen for a while, but it's going to be very, very stressful, very filled with fear, and based on survival mode, when we don't want food and eating to be like that. It's supposed to be a pleasurable, loving, life-giving experience. So let's just, notice whatever has happened with some kind of eating off balance and be very, very gentle, like almost the way you would probably be with a little wounded animal that came to your door or that you saw on the street, a creature that looked like it was hurt, how you'd be if you were with somebody who got hurt. You'd be very gentle. You might even want to nurse them back to health. You can put your own hand on your heart and maybe the other hand on your belly and just sit and wait. Self-compassion means compassion. It's in the company of yourself. It's including love for yourself, being okay with being in your own company, kind of having a sense of forgiveness for whatever sparked or triggered or sort of set off that pattern of eating for you that you have done, that you were criticizing yourself for. Just have a lot of deep compassion. So I can still have compassion for myself right now. I can practice compassion for myself as having been somebody who had extreme binges and overate and flip-flopped and all that aggression towards the self in my 20s for an entire decade. And prior to that, and lots of aggression after that. It's still sort of any kind of self-criticism that enters is a form of that. But I can do that still with how I was with food and eating, and instead of saying all those years lost, that's not actually true. There's something so important to learn and so off and so much that I was frightened of at that time about the world and about life. And eating was the thing that helped me learn it. Without the eating, I wouldn't have seen as quickly as I did. I just really wouldn't have. So it's like an appreciation, oddly, for this strange behavior of eating off balance, overeating, stuffing, whatever it is that you've done. So just to sit and watch that mind have an urge to move into, you did it again, you're stupid, whatever aggressive words and energy you'd have, violent energy, that it may want to do that to help you change. But you can just say, thank you, mind, so much for sharing, but I just need to sit and have love for myself and experience some kind of relaxation. Take a deep breath. The second thing, also that's going to seem very simple, oddly simple, but hard, is to wait 24 hours. Wait 24 hours. See if you can practice self-compassion, kindness, as if something happened and you got hurt or sick or something, and you are now taking very nurturing, gentle care of this entity called you. And you do it for 24 hours. No binge eating, no overeating, because that's not gentle. It's got a violence to it. It's got an intensity to it. So you're just going to be sweet with yourself and kind with yourself for 24 hours and just wait. Simply wait. Because if you feel bloated and horrible and full and disappointed with yourself at 11 o'clock at night after having eaten from one end of the house to the other, let's say, for example, I had this experience in the past, and you just go to sleep and you begin to practice some self-compassion or just gentleness with whatever needs to happen next. Like you're just being a simple, kind nurse to yourself. By the following day at 11 o'clock, only 24 hours later, you will feel so much better. So just wait 24 hours, and you can tell yourself in this moment, when you've had a binge, when you've overeaten, when you've broken this commitment that you have to yourself, just wait 24 hours and you'll be in a completely different place and time. You really will. It's amazing what just holding still, just being simple, just moving about your life, but without adding that addictive process that you have going on, stuffing or whatever with food. Just wait 24 hours. You will feel so much better. And it's a lovely thing to tell yourself before 24 hours is up. You just need to wait, just slow down, calm down. And you can even begin in that space to wonder what it is that happened, what set you off. If that binge had something to ask you or something to say, and that's what it was coming into your life and your psyche and your awareness, if it came into your movements, why did it do that? What was triggered? Were you scared of something? Did something happen? Did you encounter a person that made you nervous? Or did you have anticipation about something coming in the future that you weren't too sure about? it has a message, and we'll talk more about that in another video. But just see if you can do those two things, and you'll be on your way towards peace again, balance, just simple balance, neutrality. You won't be in the binge mode. You'll be somebody in only 24 hours or less who is experiencing the peace of self love. Bye bye. Let me know how it goes.